This Week in Science. Hey everyone, what's going on? Let's take a look at what we're going to be doing in science this week, the week of April 20th to the 24th. Let's start off with your notebook and your screencast. Congratulations, people. You found your screencast. Here we go. I'm going to talk primarily about one of the greatest ideas that ever came around in science. That's the idea of evolution by natural selection. This is based on the work primarily of Charles Darwin. However, Darwin did not work alone. So I want to definitely give some other people credit for where credit's due, but oftentimes this work is always associated with Charles Darwin, oftentimes a lightning rod for criticism. Anyway, we're going to see what we'll be doing this week here. All right, with the notebook, you found this. We got Darwin and the Galapagos. There's a slideshow I put together and another brief one on the influences on Darwin. Sorry I had to give you two slideshows this week. I'm not giving you any STEMscopedia as a result, but I thought that the story of Darwin was interesting enough to get us to a point with natural selection. And then next week, I can focus primarily on the components of natural selection and how it works. But I want to get more today or this week into just the history lesson about how Charles Darwin came up with his ideas. All right, so found several videos. So the second thing you should be doing after you take notes, remember in the notebook, I'm going to have a hard time grading your notebooks. I'm not putting output anymore. The output is primarily these video questions. So I'm posting these questions. I'm writing a lot of these things up, watching these videos, writing questions down, and ensure the fact that you're watching them. This one also includes an article you should be reading about Alfred Wallace, who came up with a similar idea at the similar time. However, due to circumstance, he's not the one that is usually associated with the theory of evolution by natural selection. All right, our third thing we got this week in our week in science is CK12 assignments. There's 4 of them. All right, I put 4 different things of CK12. I should have written that on there. We've got two. We have 2 practices, right, which are what I used to call the self-assessments, and that's where we have our old rules here, all right, same way. However, during the process of remote learning, I've learned how to write my own quizzes on STEMscope or on CK12, and I could cherry pick questions to a certain degree, and I've been pulling them out. So I ended up writing up 2 different quizzes. I want you to get at least 75% on those quizzes to get full credit. We'll see how you do. I mean, we'll see how that rule shows up, but let's hope that you can at least get 75% on each of those. But don't take those quizzes until you've actually watched the videos and you checked out the slideshows. Just don't go jumping ahead and doing those quizzes for sure. And then, well, you could probably do the practice like that, but the quiz would be probably a bad idea. Now, the STEMscope assignments this week, I found 2 of them that I think will work well remotely. One is, it was their hook assignment on the javelina and the cactus. And then there's a separate assignment called genetic variation where you're supposed to write down cartoon strips showing evolution. There's a lot of these things for the giraffe, and I actually have a few of those in the slideshow in terms of how they look. But you have over here, here's a PDF. You got this picture of a javelina. Here's one of the 2 assignments. You got this caption, this cartoon caption of a javelina. You can see what happens and what happened, before and after, little time lapse. And then you've got some questions about it, right? And you can make a copy of this, and write right on here. And then you can put this into your science folder if you wish. I mean, that's one way of doing this, all right? Or you can just answer the questions directly on STEMscope. But there's 10 of them. You may want to get off the computer sometimes, so if you want to get off the computer, another thing you could do is print this and then scan it. So if you want to get off the screen, I totally agree. So I'm going to start putting stuff on the print as well. That way, I'm getting tired of being behind a screen all the time. I bet you are too. All right. On that note, this one here is a PDF. So if you want to get off the screen, you can basically just, you can do this assignment off the paper here, and you're supposed to be drawing some scenarios. All right. You're drawing scenarios. So this one over here is a Herbert a giraffe. This one's a classic. This one over here, scenario number 2, is a group of rats in a science lab, Wuhan. Scenario 3, you got a group of moths in a forest. All right, you got 3 scenarios. I should call this assignment 3 scenarios. And then you got your 3 scenarios, and you got the trait in question. You should label this thing off. Now, this is all available on the STEMscope app. All right. However, if you choose not to do this on STEMscope, your folks got a printer and a scanner like I do. It costs like $60. All right. I got a printer and a scanner. If you want to get off the computer, do this on paper and then scan it and put it in your science folder, fine with me. All right. Or you can do this all on the STEMscope app. Okay, that works too, but it might be hard to draw the pictures here, right? Now that's why you might want to do one or the other. Okay, so I don't know how you're gonna draw the pictures, to be honest with you. It would be very problematic. I know which one I would pick. All right, well, I think that's it for your week in science. Next week in science, you should take a quick look at the STEMscope app. Let's take a look at it over here before we say goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye yet. By the way, I'm gonna make a slideshow on the or a screencast on the on Darwin and his journey and the people that influenced him, because he brought some books along on the boat ride that definitely influenced his thinking. All right, so this is what we've got going on here. So our scopes, the one we're currently hitting up right now, 8th grade, is natural selection. This is the one we're in right now. All right. Most likely, and I'm skipping these dudes right here, we will do artificial selection as well. But, there's these things together, then we can get into the 4th and final segment for the last 2 months of the year. All right. So natural selection. Let's take a look. I can only pull out so many things, right? We have to have the right type of materials. And if I can find them, I'll do them. So here's your Explorer. This is the one we're doing here, the genetic variation and survival. Check this out. I got an idea. You're going to love this. I wonder if I could turn that sound down. Check this out. I can do it.
Natural selection. Explore for genetic variations and survival. In this Explore activity, students read
Whoops. Keep going.
scenarios about changes in the environment, the effects they have.
All right. So this is your Explorer. You'll be drawing pictures similar to that. Look at that. You get on pencil. See, this is way better. You don't want to do this online, do you? This is not something to do online. Look, you don't have a printer. Okay. This is what you could do. You do it all online. Or you just love being behind the screen. All right. But if you have a printer, you got ink. That's why I prefer you to do that. All right. That's one of the assignments. So we can do another one of those. That was brilliant. And you got to see me just coming up with ideas right in front of you. What's the other one we're doing? The hook. The hook. There it is. Look at that. Shh, too loud.
Natural selection. Hook. In this hook activity, students will observe a series of cartoons demonstrating the conditions for natural selection.
Mm-hmm.
For this hook activity, students will need the following materials. Ask students to observe the cartoon of the javelina and the cactus.
Ask.
Explain that javelina is also known as a color peccary.
Look at the collar peccary. Observe.
Similar to a wild boar. They have neatly short, coarse, salt and pepper colored hair, short legs, and a pig-like nose. The hair around the neck and shoulder area is lighter in color, giving it the look of a collar. Javelina have long, sharp canine teeth, which protrude from the jaws without an edge. Have students observe the cartoons with their point and answer questions.
I'm so happy I thought of that one. All right. see if I can stop this.